watching it end again and again. I feel it in waves, you follow me, drifting to places I should leave. So close to the edge of something so perfect. We were too scared to take the leap. I'm missing the way we used to be. Let me go. Left me in this mess I'm falling. Never know. Can't find a reason why. Couldn't get any closer. Can't find a reason why. Couldn't get any closer. Can't find a reason why. Couldn't get any closer.
So, hi guys, my name is Mayank. I'm your Linux trainer for this session. We'll starting from today that what we are gonna discuss in this free training from the REGex and what are the main components that we are going to discuss in all the training. So, hello guys, my name is Mayank, corporate trainer. I have experience of 5 years. I trained some of the corporate clients like Cisco, Capgemini, like that, and some academic colleges in all over the India. So now, why we are learning all these technologies, there is a reason behind that. So what is the reason behind that? Is to develop our knowledge and to check what we can do in our life. So now, from the REGex software services, we are launching some programs like next that we are going to discuss today, but not like practical things, only the theoretical part of Linux today. So from tomorrow we can go for practical shit. I think my voice is clear. You guys can see my screen. If yes, then you can just yes. Comment yes or no. If you can see my screen and I'm audible now, so please respond to the chat. That is yes or no. Now there are some technologies that we have to discover or discuss in this whole training session. Is first of all Linux, because Linux is a basic platform to start your career or any operating system. There are many operating systems that you are using like OS, Windows, Linux, Mac OS. There are some other OS also. So for our course, we have to learn about Linux operating system. So we'll discuss further in Linux that what is Linux and what is operating system. After that, what you can learn is there are some of the other tools or technologies that you can make a career in that. Like there is a data science and there many or more courses is like Python, DevOps, and it's cloud, and there are more technologies like this. So we are going to cover each and every topic of each and every technology in this free course. So what we gonna do today is you guys have some questions about what is the training program, what is the duration, will what will get a certificate or no. Because this is a free training, so either you are thinking that we are getting a certificate or not for that training, because in this time everyone is for certificate only, not for knowledge. So you have to guys not to worry about your certificate, just be and acknowledge your knowledge. To enhance your knowledge, we are here to train you in these technologies. तो देखो, सीधा सा बात ये है कि आपको जिस टेक्नोलॉजी में आपको जाना है, सपोज डेवऑप्स या पाइथन या प्रोग्रामिंग या जैसे हो गई आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस या डेटा साइंस, एमएल, बहुत सारे यहाँ पे चल रहे हैं आपकी नई नई टेक्नोलॉजीज। तो व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू कवर इज, देखो बेसिक प्लेटफॉर्म तो आपको लिनक्स सीखना ही सीखना है, और जब आप फर्दर आगे जाओगे तो आपको पाइथन भी आना चाहिए। तो एक 3 कोर्सेज हमने ऐसे लॉन्च किए हैं कि जैसे लिनक्स प्लस पाइथन प्लस AWS क्लाउड। ये तीनों चीज तो आपको सीखना ही सीखना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज जो भी आप टेक्नोलॉजी में करोगे ना आगे, तो ये चीज आपको सीखना ही सीखना है, क्योंकि ये सब रिलेटेड चीजें हैं। ये लिनक्स तो हो गया प्लेटफॉर्म के लिए, पाइथन हो गया प्रोग्रामिंग के लिए, और AWS क्लाउड गया कोई एक ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म के लिए। अगर आपके पास डेस्कटॉप नहीं है तो आप यूज कैसे कर सकते हो ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म यानी ऑनलाइन क्लाउड। उसके लिए ये चीजें आपको मैटर करती हैं कि आप ये 3 चीजों सीखो, के बाद आप कहीं पे भी स्विच कर सकते हो अपनी टेक्नोलॉजी को। सपोज किसी को इंटरेस्टेड है कोडिंग करने में, तो वो जा सकता है एक डेटा साइंस के फील्ड में, और इसके अंदर बहुत सारी लैंग्वेजेस सीख के अपना जो भी प्रोजेक्ट है वो बना सकता है। तो इस ट्रेनिंग में हम प्रोजेक्ट भी डिलीवर, मतलब आपको प्रोजेक्ट देंगे, आपको करना है कि आप अपने मन से सोच के कोई भी एक प्रोजेक्ट बना सकते हो, तो आपको उसके प्रोजेक्ट के लिए भी एक सर्टिफिकेट मिलेगा। ठीक है। Now, what you can do is from today, we are going to take 10 days to 12 days, means approximately 1.5 weeks to 2 weeks. We are going to take Linux class only. After that, we will switch to Python and then AWS Cloud. After all these three technologies, what we can do is we can just separate our batches as in the form of like 10 students have interest in DevOps, so we can make another batch for DevOps. We can make different batch for data science. There are some other technologies that we have to cover. So we'll make separate batches after these technologies like Linux, Python, and AWS Cloud. So for today, is there any question now around anything, means certification, any training requirement, or any technology that we are going to cover? So if you have any question, just let me know in the comment section that I can read and tell you. So after that, what we'll do is we just have to start the Linux platform. So I know everything, everyone has using the operating system, either it is Windows, OS, Mac OS, Linux. So I think I'm getting a chat from the Ankit Agarwal, that is the duration of the duration of training. So the duration of training will be depend on your particular course. Suppose there are 14 days of training of Linux only. After that, 1 week of training of Python plus AWS Cloud. ठीक है। तो जैसे ही आप सर्टिफिकेशन चाहिए, तो आप क्या कर सकते हो, ड्यूरेशन ऑफ ट्रेनिंग भी कंप्लीट करो और एक प्रोजेक्ट भी कंप्लीट करो जो आपके बेस पे होगा। उसके बाद आपको एक प्रोजेक्ट सॉरी सर्टिफिकेट दिया जाएगा रेजेक्स की तरफ से। तो ड्यूरेशन अप्रोक्सीमेटली आप ये लेके चलो कि 30 to 35 डेज, और वी कैन एक्सटेंड इट टू 40 डेज मैक्सिमम। और डेली फॉर टुडे एंड टुमारो, मीन्स some of the days we are taking training for an hour only, but after some days we have to increase the training hours. So approximately it is of 90 minutes per day, or we'll let you know how many times we have to take the training in a day. Okay, so now you have any doubts, so tell me again. I told you everything, no? Means there are some content and courses you can enroll in everyone. Means each and every course will take up to 20 days or 30 days to complete. So like this, you can say it 40 days of online training. And per day it is approximately 1.5 to 2 hours. Timing of classes should be there in the group, WhatsApp group. If you have in that, then you will get the timing every day. Not the every day, like there is a fixed timing, so you have to join at the same time. So the flow is like, first we have to learn Linux, then Python, then AWS Cloud, and then you have the knowledge. Like if you want to join the batch of DevOps, you can join the separate batch, and if you want to join the batch of data science, you can do make a separate batch for that. No problem, you will get a mail for that also, and we'll make a separate batch for other technologies. You can enroll directly by two courses by mailing us. You have the mail ID, or you can just drop a message on the WhatsApp group. There is a two group, I think, that is batch A and batch B. So if you have any doubt regarding that I can join two courses, three courses, four courses, you can join, no problem in that. Just you have to tell me or our team once that you have to join 2 to 3 batches in a day, and you have to learn more technologies at a time, because this is quarantine time, guys, that is COVID-19 is going rapidly fast. So we can arrange 40 days training for you in the free of course. So for this course we are starting now is Linux. So I think your doubts are clear now. All the doubts are clear now. Now the last thing that I have to discuss is, are you getting my voice and screen? और आपको जो भी मैंने बोला अभी तक ट्रेनिंग के बारे में वो सारा कुछ समझ में आया कि नहीं? बस अभी मेरे को यस या नो बता देना that you are getting my voice and screen is clear, and if you have any doubt now you can ask on the WhatsApp group, but मैंने यहाँ पे सारे ग्रुप सारे डिस्कस कर दिए हैं अभी तक, ठीक है. Now, so I'm not getting any response that I can start my Linux class for today, so please tell me yes or no, I have to start Linux now. So I think most of the students are know about what is Linux. So, but there are some students also that are like from first year or second year, that is there is no don't know about the Linux platform. What is Linux? They only know about like Windows platform, how to run the video, how to do some hacking tips like that. But here we learn Linux from the sketch. Suppose आपको थोड़ा बहुत आता भी है Linux, या हैकिंग करना आता है या कुछ भी आता है Linux के अंदर, तो भी अच्छी बात है, लेकिन अपन स्क्रैच से स्टार्ट करेंगे, बिकॉज एवरीवन डज नॉट नो अबाउट लिनक्स. ठीक है, इसी तरीके से अपन को स्टार्ट करना है, स्क्रैच से एडवांस लेवल तक लिनक्स पढ़ेंगे. तो इसमें आपके टॉपिक्स होंगे, तो आपको कोर्स कंटेंट मिला होगा लिनक्स का भी, तो उसमें आप देख सकते हैं, उसी के वाइज अपना सेशन डेली आगे जाएगा. नाउ what is Linux? The main point is why we are learning Linux, or you can say what is Linux. See, we are using operating system since like 1980, I think. I don't know the fixed year, but why the company and the most of the education now nowadays are using Linux only. Why? Because this Linux platform is very easy to use, or you can say it is very reliable. But that not means is what is Linux. This means is the enhancement of Linux. तो Linux क्या है कि जैसे ही आप सपोज आप विंडो यूज करते हो, जैसे ये मेरी विंडोज है, और यहाँ पे मैंने राइट क्लिक किया और आपको न्यू पे क्लिक करके मैंने एक फोल्डर बना दिया. सपोज मैंने एक फोल्डर बना दिया रेजेक्स नाम से. तो अभी मैं इसको ओपन करूंगा तो इसके अंदर कुछ भी नहीं है, बिकॉज अब ये प्रोसेस कुछ हुई. तो ये प्रोसेस कैसे जाती है, देखो अभी मैंने राइट क्लिक किया, उसके बाद एक चीज होती है, उसको बोलते हैं कर्नल. नाउ व्हाट इज कर्नल? कर्नल इज अ mediator of software and hardware communication. Are you getting my point? Kernel is a mediator of contacting, or you can say communication between hardware and software. Suppose software is your operating system, like I am writing right click in there. So this is a software, but how can it respond to the hardware? The mediator is kernel. Whenever you try to hit any enter or any right click, it will communicate with the kernel. Kernel will communicate with the hardware, that is CPU. CPU is the hardware. It will communicate with the CPU directly, and it will give the response to the monitor. So kernel क्या हुआ? It's a mediator between software and hardware components. तो kernel अभी अगर आप Windows use करोगे, if you use Windows, then you will get a Windows kernel. That is different thing. But now kernel is also a platform of Linux. तो लिनक्स नाम कर्नल भी लिनक्स होता है। अगर आपको कर्नल पता करना है तो मैंने बताया कि क्या होता है, एक मीडिएटर होता है, ठीक है। तो अभी अपन क्या कर सकते हैं कि एक चीज बोल सकते हैं कि कर्नल एक लिनक्स है, उस कर्नल को यूज करके ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम्स बने हैं। बिकॉज अगर कर्नल नहीं होगा ना, तो यू कैन नॉट डू एनीथिंग विद द सीपीयू, बिकॉज आप राइट क्लिक करके एक फोल्डर बना रहे हो, तो वो डायरेक्टली सॉफ्टवेयर से नहीं बन रहा है, वो कम्युनिकेट कर रहा है हार्डवेयर से। क्यों? क्योंकि सपोज आप कोई फाइल रखना चाहते हो, फोल्डर रखना चाहते हो, तो आपके मॉनिटर पे तो है, लेकिन जा कहाँ रहा है? स्टोरेज पे। यू नो अबाउट दैट, बिकॉज स्टोरेज तो यूज करेगा, तो वो हार्डवेयर प्रॉपर्टी है। तो उससे कम्युनिकेट करने के लिए अपन कर्नल यूज करते हैं, ठीक है। नाउ द थिंग इज, what we can do is next, you got the point what is Linux. Now why we use Linux every time, why we use Linux. The point of using Linux is most reliable operating system. The thing is, if you own a Linux operating system and you will not write anything in that operating system, तो वो मतलब लगभग 60 से 70 घंटे अपने आप चलेगा without any reboot, without any restart any point of time. But if you use Windows and at any point of time, it will want a reboot at any point. तो मेन पर्पस क्या हुआ लिनक्स यूज करने का कि ये रिलायबल है, इजी टू यूज है, एंड द मेन थिंग इज वेरी एफिशिएंट टू यूज सर्वर्स इन लिनक्स। सपोज अगर आप बात करो इफ नासा, तो if you know about a rocket launching that is going on Mars by the NASA, so the rocket is using Linux platform only to use its antennas and servers, and they are giving responses to the Earth directly from the Mars. So now a day, now I think 3 years is completed that the rocket launching from the Mars, and it will giving the antennas, the radio waves till now, because Linux को आप कितना भी यूज करो वो रिबूट नहीं मानता। Okay, so now this is the point of Linux that we have to use it every time. So now the second point, we use what is Linux, we know that. Why we use Linux, we also know that. Now कहाँ कहाँ पे means where you can use Linux, in the servers, in the college, in everything you can use your Linux system. Okay, now so what we have to do is now we have to learn Linux. तो देखो ये एक Linux operating system ही है. If you know, I think some of the you know about this operating system, that is Kali Linux. But what is Kali Linux or what is Red Hat Linux? Some of you know about Red Hat. You heard the name of Linux, I think. So what is the difference between different operating system like Kali Linux, Ubuntu, Red Hat Linux, like that only. Okay. So there are multiple types of Linux operating system. There are two different operating system in Linux. The first thing is kernel, that is of Linux. There are some other OS that we can use in Debian format. These are the only executable part, or you can say format of Linux. There are two types of format. That is, first one is RPM, second one is DEB, that is called Debian. And in Debian format, we have multiple types of operating. First one is Ubuntu, second one is Kali Linux, third one is Linux Mint. Okay, and the second one is RPM, that is Resource Package Manager. In that we have Red Hat, CentOS, Fedora, and many more. These are the main operating system that I am highlighting here. So this is all for the Ubuntu. Okay, now the thing is, these are the main operating system of Linux. Okay, so now we are using Kali Linux, but for the next more session of Linux, you have to install Red Hat in your machines. Now the question is, how can you install the Red Hat machine in your operating system? Okay. Now the thing is, you have to install it in virtual manager. So I think all of you know about virtual manager, that is virtual box, or you can say VM workstation. This software provides you to run multiple OS at a time. See, this is my Windows machine, and you can run the multiple OS in this software. So that is VMware you can download, or Oracle VirtualBox. Okay. In that we have to install Linux toolbars. Okay. I think some of the students are complaining for the buffering. I think my system is great and the internet OS also. So either you can rejoin the link because it is good from this side. Okay. So the next thing that we have to learn more about Linux, because Linux is everywhere this in this 2020 era. You use any car, that is remote access car, this in that we have to use Linux. In any aeroplane we also use Linux. In any media partner like Ask anything you can know that uses Linux for their servers, because the Linux server is more reliable thing. 99% of the world is top supercomputer runs on Linux only. Okay. Yes. Now the next thing is that we have to learn is Linux basics commands. Linux basic commands are like you can check your date and time. Date, time, you can make a folder or directory or a file by using these normal commands. So this is an operating system interface you can see here, and this is the called a terminal. If you know about terminal, what is that terminal is, जैसे आप Windows में using CMD, no, that you are using the CMD in Windows, that is command prompt. As the same thing, we have the terminal in our operating system of Linux. So this is the terminal that you are seeing on the my screen, that is of root at Kali. So we'll discuss later about that. What is that mean of root at the rate Kali? Just we have to now open our terminal to check or make a folder. Okay. So now if you run a command that is date, so it will give you the output as a date and a time. So you can see the today's day, today's month and date, and the time. I think the time is wrong today my system, so no problem. If you run in your system, you will get the correct time. So this is how you can run a command. Now the thing is, what is command? In Linux we are going to use two things, that is GUI, that is called graphical user interface, and second one is CLI mode. You can say GUI mode and CLI mode, that is command line interface. What that mean is, GUI मतलब अपन सब यूज करते हैं, we are using it every day. GUI, graphical user interface. So graphical is like I'm clicking on my home button, so it's a GUI mode. But now if you do everything by CLI, that is command line interface, that is good to know about Linux. So in every time whenever we use Linux system from now, we are going to use CLI mode, because GUI mode you all of you know because you do every day in Windows system or Linux system. But we have to learn from today is CLI mode, that is command line interface. Suppose आपको कोई डायरेक्टरी भी चलानी है, कोई मूवी देखनी है, तो कमांड लाइन के थ्रू ओपन करेंगे, कमांड लाइन के थ्रू डायरेक्टरी बनाएंगे, फोल्डर बनाएंगे. We use folder name in Windows if the same thing is in Linux, but we can say it a directory. मतलब thing is, there is a directory now. If I made a new folder by the name of REGex, तो यहाँ पे एक फोल्डर बन गया. ये फोल्डर अपन विंडोज में भी बोलते हैं, लेकिन अपन इसको डायरेक्टरी भी बोल सकते हैं लिनक्स सिस्टम्स में. ठीक है. So now if I try to make a folder by the command line, how can you make all the things? So there are some simple commands to learn about Linux. But if you practice every command in a day, daily wise, you will not have to learn anything. You will get to know each and every command easily. So like if you want to know about the date, so just type the date command and it will run smoothly. Now I'm talking about every time command, command, command. So what is the real command name? The command is not like directly I'm running, learn that command and run on the terminal. Command is a file that is stored in your system. Suppose I run the command that is date, but the date command is not a real command. That is a executable binary file that is situated in your operating system. Okay, so if you want to know how date command looks, means what is the code behind the date command, you have to first find out where is the date command file. Okay, so I know about a date command. So if I open that command, if you want to see the code of a date command, you cannot run or you cannot use that command. If I open that date command code, just a minute, tagging in the system. Okay, I find no problem. I'll show you later that how can you read a code of a date command. So every time you use command, that is a binary executable file in your Linux system. Okay. Now there are more commands that we have to learn for the basic commands session. That is cal. Do you guys know about the calendar that we show that we can use in Windows to see the date today or day today? So we have a command that is cal. It will tell you each and everything about today's date, day, year, and the month. You guys notice that there's today is April 3rd, that is highlighted one, and the Friday is today, and year is 2020. So there are these type of simple commands that we have to learn as a daily basis to improve your Linux operating system knowledge. So now we have learned, I think, two commands that is simple as that, date, and second one is cal. Okay. So now the cal and date command you have to practice. But the thing is again, how can you practice? So what we have to do is after this session, you will get a link to download a virtual box and one operating system, or you can say one Linux distribution that is of Red Hat 7. So after that, whenever you install the Red Hat 7 ISO image into the virtual box, you will get to see a prompt like this only. And you will have to open your terminal just like that and run that command that I told you, that is date and cal. These are the basic things that you have to know about Linux operating system. For further, we have to do is making folders, directories, removing them directories that we can do in Windows as well. Like if I make this directory, just I have to delete it. Right click, delete, it will delete it by, but that is called GUI mode. But here we are using it every time, that is command line mode that I told you earlier. Command line mode, CLI, or you can say command line mode. Now, how can we make a folder or a directory in the Linux system? So if you want to make a directory, so just a simple command, like if you spell that to make a directory in English, that is make a directory. So if you make a command by this, just a mkdir. What that mean is mk is stand for make and dir stand for directory. So that is a command to make a directory. So what is the command now? To make a directory, that is mkdir. Okay. So now you have to give the name of that folder. By which name of the folder you want to make a folder at any path of time. So suppose I'm making a folder by the name of online class, yeah, Linux. Okay, now it will make a folder by the name of Linux. If we want to see on this side, I have to check that whether I'm present here or not. Okay, now if I try to make a folder that is Linux, so mkdir Linux, it will make a folder. You can see the top of the bottom my screen that you will get a folder name there by the name of Linux. This is how you can make a directory, or you can say, or a folder. Okay, now this is one thing that we are making a folder, but the next thing is how can we remove that directory. So this is also easy, that remove a directory, you can spell it in English, then just rm, that is for remove, and dir is for the same as directory. So what is the command name now to remove a directory? That is rmdir. So now if I type here rmdir Linux, you will get to know about, just see here only, it will get disappear from here. If I remove that directory, it will directly disappear from there, because we are removing that. So I think you are getting till now. If yes, then are you understanding all of these things? Yes or no? कमेंट बॉक्स में आप बता दो एक बार मेरे को, जिससे मैं आगे सेशन को कंटिन्यू करूं। तो मैं भी एक बार चैट देखता रहूंगा कि वो कंटिन्यू हो, यस और नो समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं, और कोई भी डाउट हो तो अभी पूछ लो। तो मैं भी चैट देख रहा हूँ, किसी को भी कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम है वो कंटिन्यू यहीं से करे, कि किसी को भी कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम है वो यस और नो पूछे। कि अपन ने अभी डेट कमांड देखा, वो क्या होता है कि उससे डेट पता चले, कैलेंडर के लिए, और एक डायरेक्टरी बनानी थी, हैव टू मेक अ डायरेक्टरी, then we are going to just type mkdir, that is make directory, and second one is rmdir, that is remove directory. Okay, so we are good to go ahead of that. Okay, I think some of the comments are like yes, yes, yes. Yes, Harish Jangir, I know about that, but I am going to discuss anything else with you. That's why I'm finding something else. Not, I know where his command is there, where is date. You can find the location by that, but I'm finding something different thing. Okay, so I'm getting lots of yes. So I'm moving forward to the next topic. That is, this is the folder that we are making. That is mkdir and the name of the folder. And there is a command that is for removing the directory. But now the thing is, how can you make a file? Windows, you can just right click there. Okay, I will show you that. New, and you will get a text document, and you can name anything. This is now your text document. Okay, so here, how can we make a file? Okay, so how can we make a file? That is why we are making a file. First thing is that we have to contain some content in that file. That's why, that is the purpose to make a file. So there are some other options that we can use. There are more options that we can make a file, that is nano, Vim. There are some other different things. But if you know about how can we make a file in Windows, that is by using Notepad. This is online session. Now we have to save that in Windows, like Control S you can press, or just save. Okay, it is saved now, I think. Okay, so like this you can make a folder. But have you other noticed why you are making that file in only Notepad? Because Notepad is a editor, is a file editor. That's why you can make a file in a Notepad software. Notepad is also a software to edit some files. So as the same thing, we have some other software in Linux that we are going to use. First one is gedit. That is same as Notepad in Windows. Okay. The second thing we have to use is Vim, that is VI enhanced. improved, or you can say editor for making the file. Okay, so we have to learn more about Vim, not about gedit, because you know as a notepad what is how it is work. So same as thing gedit, but we have to learn about Vim, that how can we use Vim in our making a file. Okay, so there are two things that you have to discover, that file with some content, and there can be a file with empty, means there is nothing in that file. Okay, see, so how can we make a empty file? So there is a command called, or you can say file called touch. By this command of use, you can make a empty file. So if I want to make a file with the name of Linux 1, it will make a file with the name of Linux 1, but it will empty, because by touch command you can only make empty file. But the main purpose of touch command is not to make an empty file, it is changing the timestamp. Suppose if you see that Linux 1 is the file in my system that is made on the time of 2305, that is 1105, and to change the timestamp of this file we have to use touch command. तो टच कमांड के दो मेन पर्पस है, एक तो एम्प्टी फाइल बनाना और एक किसी भी फाइल का टाइम स्टैम्प चेंज करना. सपोज आपने किसी को मैसेज किया व्हाट्सएप पे 10:15 पे, यू मैसेज समवन एट द 10:15 and if you want to change the time like in the 11:15, that's how a touch command works in Linux system to change the time stamp. तो अभी देखो डेट टाइम क्या हो रहा है, 11:06 हो रहा है और यहाँ पे क्या टाइम था, 11:05. So if I again use Linux 1 touch, it will change his time to the 11:06. So this is the main purpose of touch command that we are using to change the timestamp. Now if I open this by gedit, because gedit is a viewer or you can say editor for a file. So if I open that by Linux 1 name, you can see nothing, cannot see anything here. If you want to write something, hi, this is online session, not go on my spelling, that is typing mistake only. I'm also literate person, cannot tell me anything. So if I want to save that, you can now save it. If you open it again, you will get some content like this. Hi, this is online session. Okay, so this is how we can use the editor. So till now, have you understand about how to make a file or how to change the timestamp? Are you getting my screen or anything? Is there any blur or something? I'm waiting for your response only. तो अपन ने अभी तक एडिटर देखा जी एडिट, लेकिन अपन को ज्यादा यूज क्या करना था, विम. ठीक है, तो विम और जी एडिट में फर्क क्या है? तो जी एडिट तो आपने देखा ये जीयूआई मोड है, दिस इज अ जीयूआई मोड एडिटर. ओके, but if you want to learn how to use Vim editor, that is Vim editor, then there will be a enhancement in our skills to type fast, to copy fast, to delete fast. Okay, see, I'm getting a chat like what is the meaning of this one. This is a only like to check to write something in your terminal directly without any making history, because if I run a history command, you will get to know that all of things are there. Okay, but if I use this one and I can write it directly like this is online session. Okay, so this is how. Now you got about gedit to make a file and touch to make a empty file. So if I open that again, you will get to know that there is a content. Now in last 10 minutes we have to learn what is Vim. So Vim is an improved editor of VI. You can see on my screen that is Vim. Oh, sorry for that. If I open it again, Vim VI improved. Vim is also an editor, but that is improved one. Like you can copy in this editor fast, you can delete fast, you can go in any line at any point of time in 1 second only. So there are lots of benefit to use Vim editor. And if you are going to code something, there is a most use of Vim editor, because whenever you type any mistaken by like comma or anything, you can delete it very fast. This is why I'm talking about Vim this much. Okay. Okay, so I'm getting a message that is how to make a file once. Suppose you want to make an empty file, you have to use a touch command and follow that by a name that you are want to make. Suppose I'm getting a message from Ankit. So that is Ankit. So it will make a file name with the Ankit. So this is how you can make a file, but that is empty one. Now if you want to make a file with some content, so what you can do it directly is you can use gedit and the name of that file, that is suppose Ankit1. Now you can type it here anything. This is with some content. Okay. So now we can save it directly, and if you want to open it again, you will get your content that you saved in the file. Okay. So are you getting my screen, all of you? Because how to make a file once, I told you how to make a file. Now the touch command is to make only the empty file. If I take a name of query, it will make an empty file. Now the thing is, you make till now, but the thing is, how can you remove these files? So if I want to remove, you can see directly RM is for remove. Okay, remove and the file name followed by with the file name. So we have the some files like Ankit, Linux1 and Query. If you want to delete that, just RM and Linux1. If you put it enter, you will get to know that your file is deleted. Okay. So if I remove it, you can see here there is no file name with the Linux1. Now, if you want to remove some more, you can remove one by one and with the same command also. Like if I want to remove query and then Ankit file name, and there is one more file with the Ankit. Okay, so it will remove now all of the files in one command only. So if I try to remove it, you can see there is no file now. So the main thing that you have to understand is, for today's class is, what is Linux, that you have I think understand what is Linux, and what are the different kinds of Linux, that is RPM and Debian. RPM is called a resource package manager, and Debian is like Deb is called Debian only. In that we have different kinds of operating systems. And after that we discuss why we use Linux and how can we use Linux and where it is used. So I told you about one example, that is NASA uses Linux operating system to manage a rover on the Mars that is currently working on the Mars. If you guys know about that, that is good. If not, then you're also. And now the thing is, I forgot to tell you about open source. What is open source is, like suppose आपको Windows use करना है and you do not have the source code. So open source is, source code is available to use, and you can also modify. You can also modify the code to make your own operating system. और गेटिंग माई पॉइंट, ओपन सोर्स टेक्नोलॉजीज में लिनक्स ओएस ज़्यादातर आते हैं, विंडोज ओपन सोर्स नहीं है, उसने अपना कोड कभी किसी को दिखाया नहीं. ओपन सोर्स मीन्स वी कैन यूज their code to modify that to make our own is operating system. Okay, so this is the main thing that I forgot to tell you in the starting of the class, but now I'm telling you what is open source. So for today's like summary, what is Linux, we learned that. How we use Linux, we are going to discuss in the next session. Why we use Linux, I told you about that. How many companies are now using Linux? 99% of the companies using Linux for their servers. How many types of Linux is there? I told you about that also. What is open source? I told you about that. And some commands that I told you, like date, cal, mkdir, rmdir, touch, gedit, and rm for removing the file. Now, my last question to you guys is, are you guys means can you able to hear me or can you see my screen? तो आज का क्लास कैसा था वो आप फीडबैक तो बाद में दे देना, उसका कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. नेट का इशू था वो कल सॉल्व हो जाएगा. लेकिन आपको और कोई इशू है, मतलब कुछ जानना है कोर्स के बारे में? इफ यू वांट टू नो अबाउट मेनी कोर्सेज दैट यू हैव टू लर्न 2 or 3 courses that you can share on the chat, will let you know about in the next 10 minutes. I will take your messages on the chat and reply you soon in this video only. So class is over for today, but if you have any doubt or any clearance to clear with me, that you can tell me. So for the next 7 to 8 minutes, I'm here for you to answer your questions. Is there any problem in teaching or any screen networking, like network issue or command or voice or language? I can change all of the things according to you guys. So I'm waiting for your answer and questions to answer them. Okay, in the meantime that you are seeing the video, I'm talking to you also that I think you are college student, all of you are college student. So this is the best opportunity to grab the knowledge about operating system and new technologies. You will get to know about DevOps technologies. How can we automate something, like by just one click we can automate Cisco servers, we can automate your college web servers, like that only. You will get to know about all of the things in these courses, and you can make your own Google Voice. If you know about Google Voice, that is how may I help you, like that. Okay, so I'm getting some question. Okay, one question is like, Tushar, sir, please show the binary file for the date command. Okay, I will show you that, but you cannot able to read that because you know everyone cannot show you the code of every command. So if you want to see the date command, you can see on the screen that is the date command output, or you can say date command source code, but that is encrypted because this is the main thing that you cannot see from the Linux system. All the commands that is provided by system, you cannot see the code, but you can make same as that. Okay, the second question, will the content of the file will be lost if I change the time? Yes, at the time, that is depend on you only. Suppose if I want to make a file by the name of regex, and now you are telling that if I have a content with the regex, if I touch that, it will change the content, yes or no. So if I to tell you that, it will there only, content will be there, just the timestamp will change. Okay, getting Java and Android app development course is there. You can ask on the WhatsApp group, that is the different course, no? So you can ask on the WhatsApp group on. Debian is just like a version of Linux only. That is, there are RPM and Debian that we can use both of them, but the difference only is the like enterprise version. Red Hat is enterprise version, but you can use at free. Some limitation are there. But in Debian, there is no enterprise Linux, and you can use it anywhere at any point of time.